So we were talking about the fucking federal government jobs. How everybody loves those.
Hey, 11 holidays in a year, I think, with the feds.
11 paid holidays, that's not a bad gig, and 30
Nah,
days
still,
vacation, huh? Or no, it's not
still
30
good.
days. What is it, 15?
Yeah. Well, for what is it? For the first 3 years, you earn 4 hours of
Oh, that's
payday.
right, that's right.
After three, you get six
Six.
hours, and then after 15, it jumps to 8.
Are you in that 8-hour leave category yet?
Fuck no, I'm still in the 6, but 6 is better than 4.
I remember when when I was working, I think I was still working for the Forest Service. Somewhere when I was in the middle of that, I changed over to the 6-hour leave category, and God Almighty, did it just start stacking up quick.
Oh yeah, I got
That
more leave than I like than I can take.
that was the thing I think that I liked working. I was a GS5 when I worked for the Forest Service. I didn't make hardly any money, but I enjoyed that job so much that I got they wouldn't let us take overtime, so what I would get is what do you
Comp,
call that? I get comp time, and you could only have so much of that, like 24 hours or something like that.
and you got to burn it within a certain period of
Yeah,
time.
like I had tons and tons of fucking time. In fact, I lost. I remember losing 24 hours of comp time to, well, but I got paid to do one of the best jobs on the face of the fucking earth. Like nobody can argue with me with it. I loved fucking being in the mountains, and I got paid to ride a four wheeler. Got paid to ride a snow machine, like a hike around. It was fucking awesome. Whatever. But when
Yeah,
I
you
worked
got
for the
paid to be the
VA,
Dukes of Hazard.
when I worked for the VA, like I could not burn my leave fucking quick enough. Like, oh my god. And when I came to work for the VA, they did not want to take my time because I had like I don't know. I had the max amount of time in June, which meant that I was going to have I started working for the VA. When did we start working for the VA? Like when I did I start working there? July? I think it was
Yeah, that
July.
sounds right.
So from July to October, all that leave that I was gonna earn was gonna be on top of the I had use or lose already. They oh my god, they were so not happy about that. So that meant that I automatically needed to. I think that's what I did. I think I took a 1 day off a week until October. Yep, yep.
That
That's
sounds right. I think you were having a lot of vacation when I was working. I think I recall some bullshit like that.
they were so mad at me. So literally, the first week I started, I need to take a day off because I got too much fucking leave. Oh my god, they're so mad. They wanted to sell it to me. I'm like, fuck no, you're not selling that shit to me. Like, I'm not taking a 25% fucking hike on all that shit. No.
Right. Just rate me, no
And it
Vaseline
was
included.
absolutely the worst job I have ever had. I don't know that I went through a really rough period. I went through a divorce. Literally, I think 2 days after I started that job, my wife left me. And so it was like, I don't know if it was the job or a combination of all that bullshit, but it was literally like one of the worst jobs I ever had. Ugh.
No. I do remember riding in your Jeep to your home to meet your wife and you getting a phone call
That my
and then
wife
us
had
no
left.
longer going.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And she even took the damn TVs that you were gonna loan me.
Oh, that's right. That's the whole thing we were going to my house for. I remember that now.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
gonna borrow a TV until all of my shit got out there, and yeah, no more TVs.
That was some bullshit, wasn't
The TVs went with the pussy. It just all out the window.
it? It was such a weird time. Like, I remember that. Like, I was thinking, like, this guy's never gonna fucking believe me that my wife is leaving. Like, literally the day, like 2 days after we start that job.
Well, the awesome part was how you were really the first like guy friend I ever had who was also married and not like a single brother or a single dude who was gonna try to go run around all the time. So I had talked to my wife who was super excited that I had this married compadre, and then all of a sudden that wasn't the case.
It was not the case anymore. But I think your wife still likes me. She doesn't hate me.
Oh, she loves you, dude.
Maybe
She
she
loves you.
secretly hates me. But
No, we got a bedroom with your name on it.
I
We'll
think the reason your wife probably like as I don't have nothing against drinking, but I don't drink anymore, and I'm not like a party animal. So
I think that probably helps
I think
because
so.
some of the friends that I've done things with, that's not true of.
I'm not out on the town trying to find the ladies of the night. I am not. I
I'm
just, you know, I that
now
that, that is behind
I'm
me.
not I'm not overindulged in that, but I have overindulged in libations.
I think every man is entitled to get ripped once in a while, though.
Yeah, so I've done that.
I'm coming up on this year will be 9 years. I think next year is gonna be the year. I think I'm gonna get to 10, and then I'm just gonna get shit faced.
Yeah, and then you're gonna take another 10 off, or
Oh yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna. I think 10 years sober, you got to do something big. You know, the reason I
uh,
quit drinking, and I think I've talked about it before on here, is because I did not know how to socially drink. Like if I drank, I was gonna get as drunk as I could, and before somebody took me home. Like that's my goal was. Like I didn't understand the concept of let's just have a beer at so and so's house or at this restaurant. Like,
right?
nah, fuck the beer. Let's just bring the bottle of fucking Jack over here. And when I get to the bottom, we need to go to the next place. Like, that's how I drank. And it got to the point
Yeah.
where I was in my house, in my apartment. I was still in the military, and I was drinking a bottle of Jack, a fifth of Jack every night, and a bottle of Jaeger every fucking night. And to be okay in the morning when I woke up to go to work, I had to drink a beer, like just before you level out. It was
What
fucking
kind of beer did you
horrible.
drink?
Bud Light or
All right,
Corona
so
or
Bud
Corona.
Light, Corona, Jack, and Jaeger. So I think the show's looking for sponsors, and
uh,
I'm not 9 years dry over here.
it wouldn't take. I was thinking about somebody asked me about it the other day. Somebody that I'm really close to. And he's been clean. I think I don't know, 7 years, 6 years. But he can drink. Like he'll go to the when he goes to his family's house, he has to drink. There's just no way around it. I would have the same problem. But he asked me the other day. He's like, "How do you think you could drink a beer and be okay?" And I'm like, I thought about it. I'm like, I might drink a beer and like fucking kiss the floor. Like that might be over. Like I might drink a beer and it just be it.
I mean, I guess it depends on what IPA you drink. If one of them's putting you on the floor,
I don't. I was. He was like. I thought about. I was like, I wonder if I could drink a six. Like I used to be able to drink a 6 pack of Mike's, like hard lemonade. I really enjoyed that shit, and be
yeah,
fine and just be
I know a
and
lot of women
perfectly
do
fine.
like that drink.
Hey, you know what? Fuck you. It's fucking scrumptious. Okay.
But I like lemonade too. That's just not normally my go-to 6 pack.
Well, yeah, I hear you. But if I had to drink beer, that's the kind of shit I would drink. And I used to drink this shit called Sparks. Do you know what that is?
Nah.
It's a alcohol based energy drink. Oh my god, that shit
Oh
was
yeah, I don't fuck
amazing.
with energy drinks. I can't sleep without energy drinks.
So you showed me this thing the other day about IDs.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know how many listeners hang out in Pennsylvania or anything, but I used to live in Pennsylvania, and I got family and friends still in that area. And so in October, they were all freaking out because of this real ID deal. So they essentially had gotten some messages that they wouldn't be allowed to take domestic flights without getting a passport because Pennsylvania had not met the real ID standard. And so what real ID is for listeners that aren't familiar, just like a brief synopsis. So it's a law that was enacted in about 2005, I think, by the 9/11 Commission recommendation, and basically it set a federal standard for the issuance of IDs such as driver's licenses. And so initially there were several different dates, but now like the main date now is January 22nd, 2018. So all these states, I think there are 29, and Pennsylvania is one of the 29 that don't have a driver's license that have like the right holograms and all this kind of stuff. And anybody that's interested, you just Google and Real ID, and Homeland Security has a ton of stuff about it. Um, but anyway, Pennsylvania hadn't asked for their extension that was set to expire, and so basically, when November 1st hit, they were going to have passports in order to take domestic flights. But since then, they have filed for their extension. So now they're good until January 22nd of 2018 when extensions will supposedly no longer be granted. So like my brother and some of his friends who they travel for work and things like that, they were kind of freaking out because their Pennsylvania IDs weren't going to work at the damn airport anymore. They were all of a sudden going to have to go out and pop for passports.
Passports are not fucking cheap.
No, plus they're a pain in the ass to get. Like there's an application process. It's
Yep.
not like you just walk in and say I'm ready to have my passport, and they just hand it to you, and then you go to the airport.
Yep. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, that shit's got to come through the mail. All kinds of good stuff. You got to get a picture taken, and you can't just use any picture. Like, you got to go to a fucking place that's like certified to take passport pictures. Apparently.
Yeah, it's a racket, man. We got to make the money.
So it looks like I'm looking it up right now. Every state except Minnesota has filed for an extension that's not compliant. Minnesota is,
Okay.
I guess, the only one that's bumping the system right now.
Well, one of the things that I would ask people to think about is, should the government be able to tell us that we need anything like a passport in order to take a domestic flight? And how much should the government be able to regulate a state's identification card?
Well, apparently, a lot. I agree,
Well,
though.
yeah.
Like, where's your fucking papers at, Mr. fucking Machado? So, you know, this is the
Yeah.
Nazi state of fucking the U.S. Where's your fucking
Right.
papers?
You know, the Soviet states of America.
That's right. In Mother United States, we call it your papers.
Next thing you know, Donald Trump's going to go wrestle a bear.
That's right. Shirtless on top of a horse.
Hell yeah.
But
We'll
that's
see
what
him
it
in a
reminds
gi.
me of. Like, anytime, like, you know, a couple years ago we went through before the whole, and I think it led to the police problems that we have now, is that you'd be walking down the street, and now you need to understand that when you walk down the street, you do not need to have an ID. It's in the U.S. It is perfectly legal for you to be out and about without having your driver's license on. You do not have to have it. Now, if you get
Right.
behind the wheel of a car, you have to have a driver's license to prove that you know how to drive a car. That's what
Sure,
it's
but
for.
it's not like Casablanca. They're not asking you for your papers because you're in an alley.
Yeah, but there was a huge problem with police, like, you know, with people like just being out and about and police asking to see their IDs. Like, there's tons of YouTube footage of people, you know, getting asked for their IDs on the street corner. Like, fuck, I would tell the same thing. I would tell a cop, fuck you. Like, I'm not giving you anything.
Well, I mean, it goes. I mean, I know when I was in high school in the early 1990s, to date myself a little bit, that's when they first started. And I actually wrote a letter to the editor and wrote a paper in school about where they were putting cameras on stoplights. That's when they first kind of started doing that,
Okay.
which is very, very Orwellian, very 1984. And at the same time, and I don't know if all of our listeners are old enough to remember tinted license plate covers,
Yep.
which were a big deal in the early 90s. Well, the state of Maryland where I lived, the police would pull you over if you had like a certain level of tint on your license plate cover. And they would try to ID every motherfucker in the car. Like I'd be with friends and they're trying to ID me because I'm in the passenger seat of a car that they're pulling over.
Fuck
That's
you.
what I was like, I don't have my ID. Yes, you do. I need your ID. They make me get out of the car, frisk me. And this is like 1994.
Stop and frisk, man. Stop and frisk.
Yeah, 9/11 hadn't happened yet.
Fucking horseshit is what that is. Totally getting totally a violation of your rights. Totally.
Oh yeah. And I didn't even have a beard or nothing. I didn't look like a terrorist. Not to say beards look like terrorists. Hipsters got cool beards too. If I could rock a cool fucking beard, I'd have one. Believe you me.
I don't want anybody to think that you have to carry an ID on you if you're walking around. If you're a passenger of a car, you don't have to have one. That's fucking
No, you
bullshit.
shouldn't. Right.
No. And you should, like, people need to know exactly what their rights are. Like, if you get pulled over and you feel like you're being harassed, you need to repeatedly ask, am I free to go? Like, if you're not free to go, they need to have a fucking valid reason for keeping you there. And if you get out of your car, I suggest that you lock your doors immediately. Like, and there's nothing illegal about that. And if a cop asks you why you lock your door, I don't want my car broke into. I don't trust you. I don't trust that nothing won't be stolen. That's a very fair statement to make.
Yeah. Well, I would say
Go ahead.
That's when the kind of the breakdown of trust started to happen between the public and the police, I think.
Yep.
When all that kind of stuff started to go on regularly. Like before that, you might have actual interactions with policemen that aren't related to being pulled over for going too fast, being pulled over for having a tinted license plate cover. Basically all they're doing is harassing people. There's no like they don't walk a beat anymore. They don't pop in the neighborhood mom and pop store and say hello, how are things?
Yep.
They don't, like you don't see policemen have that kind of public presence anymore.
And
And the breakdown of that.
have you noticed that they've taken all the protect and serve off all the police cruisers? It's not on there anymore.
I hadn't noticed that.
It's gone. Because it first happened in New York, I think. But basically the police union has determined that that is not their job anymore.
That's interesting.
Fucking horrible. When I lived in Rapid City, South Dakota, I was still in the military there. There's not a whole lot of happening in Rapid City. It's a big city, but for a lot of military folks, it's just that if you're not in the outdoors, the only other thing really to do there is to drink. So I was going home one night, and I was getting on the interstate in Rapid City, and they were pulling over every single car and making everybody take a breathalyzer. I was not drunk, thankfully, thank God. But when they got to me in my truck, I asked I knew what was going on. I immediately asked the cop, I want your name and your badge number, and I want all your compadres out here. I want the same information. And he asked me why, and I was like, well, you're pulling everybody over here and stopping everybody and assuming that everybody here is drunk. Like, you're profiling all of us.
Right, sobriety checkpoint. Yep.
And he's like, well, I'm not giving you that. I was like, well, then I'm not taking a breathalyzer. He's like, well, if you don't take a breathalyzer, I can arrest you immediately. I'm like, well, that's fine. You can arrest me if you want to. Then you can explain to the people, on base that, the federal government, why you're out here profiling everybody. It's like there was like 30 fucking cars, and you're making everybody take a breathalyzer. And so as soon as I started saying all that, he's like, oh, you're free to go. You're free to go. And I'm like, no. Like, I need to see. I want all your badge numbers and all your names. Like, this is fucking horseshit. I didn't get anybody's badge number or name. They fucking ushered me on my way. But that's the kind of shit I was fucking furious. And I was a little younger, and I was, I definitely wanted to start some shit. I was probably in some kind of mood where I wanted to start some shit.
Yeah. Well, what young guy's not a dick on occasion? I remember being in high school and the cops would come in to talk about like drugs or something, and we'd be like, "Oh, I smell bacon." Like
yeah.
When you listen to Cypress Hill and whatnot, that's just how you kind of feel at that moment in time in history.
But I firmly agree that I don't think that it's the federal government's job to make IDs uniformly across states, and now you can't fly because your state doesn't, meet the federal requirement. What the fuck is that about? So it's almost like forcing you to get a standardized ID or get a standard federal ID, which in essence is a passport.
Right.
I really think it's where's your fucking papers at?
Oh, it's definitely along that line.
Yeah.
Of course, so is all this, traffic monitoring by camera, all these other things. They're very much along those lines too.
I remember when I lived in Florida that my buddy bought a brand new truck, and he got this license plate holder. There's a lot of tolls in Florida, a lot of toll roads. There's no state taxes there. So the way the state funds themselves is they have toll roads everywhere. And the most expensive toll road is like $1.25. And then once further on down the line, it might be a quarter. And this was back in 2005. They might be different. And you can buy this thing called a Sun Pass, which let you go in a different lane. And I'm sure a lot of other states have something similar, where you just put it in your windshield and just
it's express lane.
Yeah, but my buddy, we didn't live close enough to these toll roads where I thought it was, I didn't want to pay for a Sun Pass. But he bought this license plate holder that was hooked up to this button in his car that you pressed it and this gas came over the license plate. Now you could still see it with a naked eye, but if a camera was trying to take a picture of you, it
It
couldn't
couldn't
see it.
catch it.
Yep. So he put that shit on my truck too, and it was fucking. We ran tolls all the fucking time with that bitch.
Like James Bond.
I'm not encouraging anybody to have it, but that's the type of attitude people have when it comes. When they want you to they want you to like show your papers and pay pay the tolls across the ugh. There's nothing wrong with paying tolls, especially in a state like Florida where they don't have any state income tax. It's fucking great. Pay your fucking tolls.
Well, yeah, and if somebody breaks in the house, I'm calling the police. I might shoot them first, but I'm still calling the police.
I remember when they passed a law when I was in Florida. If somebody was on your property but they weren't in your domicile and you shot them, you could go to jail for attempted murder. Even if they
Yeah.
were like threatening you, they had to be inside your home, which is just fucking crazy. Like if somebody comes on my property and your garage was not considered part of your domicile, because I remember somebody going to jail over that shit. Somebody broke into somebody's garage and they shot him with a shotgun, and the homeowner went to jail for killing this guy in his garage.
And Maryland had similar laws to that too. And Maryland also had a law like you had to like you couldn't shoot them in the back. So like if they came into your house, say they shot at you or anything else, if you shot and they started to run, you couldn't shoot at them again because if you shot them in the back, they were going to charge you.
Holy fuck. What the fuck is the world coming to? That's fucking crazy.
Well, Maryland used to also have a rainwater tax. So now been repealed now by their current Governor Hogan, but they did have a tax on rainwater.
And find a reason to tax you for whatever.
Sure.
All right, well, let's take one last break and we'll come back and wrap it up, all right? All right, we're back. We're going to close it up here soon. So, yeah, I think the whole police problem that we have now is, I think it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it's definitely been building.
And I think that, I think the riots like that we're having now is, just like they were in the 60s, after Martin Luther King died, fucking New York erupted.
So did Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore still has burned out buildings like to this day from those riots.
Wow, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. You can go and folks who know downtown Baltimore, if there's any listeners, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. You go down in that area, like off Martin Luther King Boulevard, and you go through there, and there are plenty of buildings that have been burned out, and they've never repaired those structures or done anything with them.
There's a lot of parts of Baltimore that's just like hard rolling Baltimore, isn't it? Like just rough
Oh
sections. Yeah. I think the difference is I think that when Rudy Giuliani was the mayor there, I think he cleaned up a lot of that shit. I don't think that's been done in Baltimore.
No. Well, they have tried. There's been some like gentrification where they've went in and taken down neighborhoods. They've priced people out of their homes through taxes and things like that. But they haven't done that all over the city. So there still are, those pockets of poor and oppressed people. And in those neighborhoods, those buildings just sit.
Yeah.
And of course, heroin in Baltimore is crazy. So,
I remember somebody when I was, I don't know, I think I was still in high school. Somebody talking about it that lived there. They talked about how like when Home Alone was made, the Lost in New York one, how dirty Central Park was, how it was like just a place for bums, and now it's like one of the safest places in the U.S. that you can go to at night.
Oh wow!
Because of what he did, like that people have like this. There's like zero tolerance for anything inside that place. And I guess it used to in the 80s and the early 90s, it was known for, just being and especially at night, it was dirty. A lot of drugs were sold there. A place for bums slept there. And I don't know what they did with the people, but they just cleaned that shit up. So.
Right. Yeah. So the difference then with Baltimore, I'll give you a prime example. So anybody who's a fan of Edgar Allan Poe or those kind of writers, Edgar Allan Poe had lived in Baltimore in a row house, and it's down in one of the worst part of towns. And so I was trying to take my wife, who loves his writing. to see his row house. And so we're walking down. It's not a nice part of Baltimore by any means. And of course, my wife has a Coach bag on her arm because she didn't think to leave it in the trunk or anything. So we walk by this policeman who's like just parked, standing by his cruiser in an alley. And he looks at us, and we're two white folks walking in this majority black neighborhood in Baltimore. And he says to my wife, but he doesn't really look at me so much. He just says, "Hey, how y'all doing?" And he looks at my wife and he says, "Hey," so what are you guys doing down here? I don't know if he thought we were trying to score drugs or white folks in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so he says, "I just want you to know, we can't keep you safe here."
Holy shit.
Yeah. And this is like 2009, you know what I mean? Like this isn't a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so my wife, who loves Edgar Allan Poe, she was like, "That's okay, honey. I don't want to see Edgar's house. Let's
Oh,
just
so
go
you
back to
didn't
the
go.
car." So she didn't even get to see the house. Like I mean, I've been to it a couple times. Hell, and this is the bizarre thing, and why I don't understand why that policeman would behave that way, because like University of Maryland would send us graduate students down into those neighborhoods to try to recruit people to the dental school, to the law school, to provide free services to folks in those
Yeah.
impoverished communities.
Oh.
So, but I guess because it was starting to cruise into the evening time, you just, you felt that way. But when you have police telling you they can't keep you safe in a neighborhood, I mean,
Something's
that's pretty
wrong.
bad.
Something's fucking
Yeah.
wrong, man.
Yeah.
It could be a manpower issue. I don't know. Could be that to me that would be the probably the baseline issue is that it's probably a manpower issue.
Sure.
There's not enough boots on the ground in that area. Well, bud, do you want to come back before the election, or you want to come back then? So the election's next Tuesday. We're gonna have just reiterate on November 8th at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that's 4:30 East Coast, and then not 4:30, 8:30, 8:30 on the East Coast, 4:30 on the West Coast. We'll be getting started, and we're gonna have a couple hour podcast here until we get the election results. Something crazy happens, we'll probably cut it off at the 3-4 hour mark. But Bo's been kind enough; he wants to come back for that. Do you want to come back before then?
What nights you got the show going?
We got a show on Saturday night, of course, and then we won't have anything till that Tuesday.
Yeah, we could do Saturday.
All right, so Bo be back on Saturday. Make sure that you let us know if you like Bo being on here. If you have topics that you want us to talk about, please feel free to let us know. Thank again to the sponsors: NVIDIA, TGN, Viper Blitz. You got anything else you want to say, bud?
Everybody who likes me, that the check's in the mail.
The check's in the mail. You're such an ass. But we appreciate. Tell your wife and your kid that we appreciate you letting us have you for a couple hours tonight.
Will do.
Send her our love. I
Yep,
appreciate
everybody's love's coming that way.
I appreciate you coming on the show tonight, man.
Oh yeah, brother. It's been good to be here.
All right, bud. Well, we'll see you next time.